This one is from a little different perspective. We've talked about this from a data perspective. We talked about this from a broker perspective. One thing that we haven't really looked at is what does a government get out of it? What does a institution get out of this? What insights are they able to glean from a market? So with our next presentation, Merri Jo Cowen will moderate this, and I'll invite her up here to introduce her panelists. If we could give Merri Jo a round of applause, please.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Before I bring up our panel, I just wanted to take a minute, and hopefully I won't blow up the computer here. I just wanted to introduce myself a little bit more to all of you. My name is Merri Jo Cowen, and I am the CEO of Stellar MLS out of Orlando, Florida. I have been in this industry for 40 years. When I was 12, I started, just so you know. Excuse me, I'm all hyped up here. Yesterday, I celebrated my 15th anniversary with Stellar MLS. And so, thank you, very exciting. And I've seen, honestly, where's Saul? There you are. I've seen almost everything that Saul talked about today, starting with terminals, books, the internet. I've seen it all. So in essence, I would have to say, I'm Merri Jo Cowen, and I am an MLS junkie. It's in my blood. I'm passionate about it. And what have I seen through the years? Somebody just said it, Martin, I think, just said it. Change. Change, innovation, change, and more change. And constantly evolution of the MLS. One of the exciting things that I can take away from this conference is all of you who are thinking about MLSs don't have to start at MLS 1.0 because you can learn from all the crazy things that we've been through and start building at the 6.0. The biggest change that I've seen, aside from the internet, is RISO standards. And I know that's one of the things we're talking about a lot here. The data standards completely changed our business. We are an MLS of 84,000 subscribers. We are a realtor-owned regional MLS. We have 19 shareholders, all realtor associations, and that has grown consistently over the years. And the RISO standards, the data dictionary, all of those things have made bringing on new shareholders much easier and much quicker. The data mapping, all of the technology stuff that goes way over my head makes all the difference. We've been able to bring products on to serve our customers within weeks instead of multiple months because our database is native data dictionary. So there's just so much benefit to these data standards, and I love what I've been hearing. That's really the great place to start. So, standards are the foundation. And at Stellar, we absolutely believe that we succeed when our brokers do, and without technology, we can't grow and evolve to help them. So I just wanted to say it's not just about the data, and we've heard a little bit about legal and a few other challenges. So that's the exciting part about this panel. So I would love to invite my panelists to come up and join me on the stage. Come on up, Magda. Khatia? Oh, where's Khatia? Oh, there she is. Sonia. There she is. Where's Sonia? Uh-oh. That's okay. It's all right, but I don't know where she is. Okay. Well, here, God. She's supposed to be joining us. I wonder where she is. You want to take that? Yes. Awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and get started while she joins us. Oh, there she is. I was having a panic attack here. This is girl power here. We have a panel of all extremely awesome ladies. to join us today. So what I'd like to do is just have you each briefly introduce yourself, what organization you're with, and then I'm going to get into some great questions. So why don't we start with you, Khatia?
Okay. Briefly, or we have just more than 1 minute?
You have 2 minutes. You can have two.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me today at this very esteemed MLS forum in Paris. I am Khatia Bukhrashvili, the Secretary General of International Chamber of Commerce in Georgia, and it's honor for me to be among those distinguished speakers and industry leaders. Before I turn my attention to the local context, I would like to tell you briefly about the International Chamber of Commerce Global Organization, which is a French organization founded in 1919, which unites more than 46 million businesses worldwide through the national committees operating in 170 countries. International Chamber of Commerce is the organization which consults regularly at the global level, highest level with G7, G20, the World Bank, WCO, WTO, and having the permanent seat at the United Nations. Let me mention International Chamber of Commerce by acronyms, ICC, so to be time, save the time. I will just add some more things, right? So ICC is having its own court of arbitration, which helps to resolve the international commercial and investment disputes. And ICC is also having its unique platform called World Chamber Federation that unites 12,000 chambers worldwide. And through those chambers, the businesses that the chambers unite locally. The aim of this platform is to connect and lead and inspire the chambers to strengthen the links between them and to help individual ones to become more productive. Locally, ICC Georgia unites around 300 members, corporates, associations, and youth members. And through our extensive networks, we cultivate meaningful relationships and foster collaborations that benefits the entire business landscape. Thank you.
No, thank you. Magda.
Good afternoon. My name is Magda Olysarova, and I am a lawyer. I am an attorney working for an international law firm called White & Case. I am based in Prague, in the Czech Republic. And my focus and expertise are on competition law, antitrust in the US, and regulatory matters. And why am I here today, being a lawyer, not familiar with real estate, really? I am here because I have been helping to Igloo, the Czech MLS company, and Martin Mucha to establish themselves on the Czech market. So based on this experience, I would like to share with you some thoughts about how to navigate in the European regulatory framework.
Excellent. Great. Thank you, Magda. Sonia.
Thank you. My name is Claudine Spelz. Personally,
I'm sorry, I called you Sonia. Where did I get that from?
from Luxembourg. No, what?
What's your first name?
Claudine.
I called you Sonia. I'm so sorry, Claudine.
In the States, you are saying Claudine.
Okay, there we go.
Okay,
Thank you for forgive me for that, Claudine. I'm so sorry. My brain is a little cloudy, I have to say. I'm so sorry, Claudine.
Yes, I am living in Luxembourg. Professionally, I was a property manager during more than 25 years. And after this long career, I was taken another way. That means I am very active in the education for young people, for the real estate profession, and also for the lifelong learning for education of big people, for the elders. Voilà. And why I am here today, it is because I am a long member from CEPI. CEPI, it is European Association for Real Estate Profession. In CEPI, we have the representation of two professions. It is a real estate agent and property manager. CEPI was born in the year 90. We have, until today, we have 33 members and representing 26 countries in Europe. the particularity of CEPI, it is an association of association members. That means that the members are national association, European national association. I don't know if you explain what CEPI is doing just now, or perhaps later.
I can
okay. CEPI is very important because the purpose it is to share experiences, to share knowledge, to share the best way to do the profession in the interest of the consumer, because the interest of the consumer is also our interest as professionals, because a consumer who are happy with our work is coming back to us. Donc it is a situation of win-win. And then what you are doing in Europe to do that, it is some difficulties for us. Not really difficulties, but some challenges. For example, we have 36 associations, but with different culture, different languages, different legislation in each country, and then these things we have the European directive and European regulation that we have to apply in our country. But yeah, you are specialists on that. I lose this part of the things. So it is that, and it is very important for us to take care of all those things. To do that, we have put in place a lot of tools, and we have a lot of working groups. For example, we have a working group on digitalization. We have a working group of the regulation. We have a working group of the money laundering. We have a working group of the RGPD, the regulation, the protection of the private données. So we have a lot of things where we are a reflection, where we analyze the directive, the regulation, and we check in each country what can be done in the interest of a profession. Because the purpose it is to facilitate the exercise of the profession and in the respect of all the regulation. We have also put on the table a very important project. It is the CEPI. It is the member of CEPI, and it is a sort, not SML, but it is a sort the contribution between the association to create more network between us with tool and so on. This project. And another project very important for me, because I am the working group of this, it is education. That means to develop education in Europe, to create a common basis of education for all the professionals, and to put that by the Commission. And for that, we had put in place basic education. That means we have we ask to all the universities and all the schools who are members of this network to apply 120 ACTS education, and that is to facilitate the comparison between the education in each country in Europe. It works. We have more than 25 high school and university who is participating to this project. And we have students in each European country who receive a certification from Reduc. We try to develop the contribution and the meeting between students in each country and with the young professional, with the teacher and so on. Okay, it is a lot of work. It is for me, it is the first important topic I have inside CEPI.
Your passion.
It is my passion.
Yes,
Voilà.
absolutely.
Voilà.
Very good. Very well. Thank you. So let's start with Magda on some questions. So tell us a little bit more. First of all, let me back up just a second. In my anxiousness to get up here and find you all, I forgot to say thank you. And thank you so much to CEPI for inviting us here and giving us this opportunity to learn about your market. So I just want to say thank you very much. And Martin was, I loved hearing about him, and when he mentioned the legal, I made that connection right away. So tell us a little bit about how the MLS is going to work in Europe, and how familiar are Europeans with the MLS concept?
So just to start, I think that in Europe we can actually achieve the same benefits from the MLS as you have in the US. But as was already mentioned before, and I will add some more, we have to overcome some challenges. We have heard about the market structure, the existing market structure, so like consumer patterns, behavior patterns, and so on, so forth. But one important part of this puzzle is also the European regulatory system, which is much more complicated, I guess, than in the US. I guess in the US, almost everything is possible. Here, you have to be very careful when implementing the system. And I would like to illustrate this on the example of our cooperation with IGLU, which is like a real-life example. So I was approached by people from IGLU about almost 2 years ago. And they came to us and they said, yeah, we are going to implement an MLS, and we would like you to look into it and make sure that it complies with European regulation, most importantly with competition law. And at that time, I had to, I'm not from the real estate field, so I had no idea what an MLS was. So in the first step, we had to actually do a research and get a better understanding of the system. So basically, we found out that this is this online tool which you use to enable or to help the real estate agents to carry out their transactions. And when we saw this, when you see this as a competition lawyer, you instantly think, okay, so this is a tool which actually enhances cooperation between agents. And it creates a lot of interactions between them and a huge exchange of information and data. So it seems like a lot of work for us because you know that you have to keep it under control. And we were looking for some MLS cases, competition cases in Europe primarily because we know that you have plenty of them in Canada and US, but we wanted to see how this reflects, how it is reflected in the EU. And we found one decision of the competition authority in Spain, which was about price fixing, about fixing of commissions, and it ended up, the companies ended up with quite heavy fines. I mean, the fines were much lower than what the Commission usually imposes on Google or those huge companies. But if you link the fine to their turnover, it was really substantial. It was like 5 to 8% of their turnover. So I think IGLU was very smart, and they involved us in the process at a very early stage. So we put together some recommendations for them, and based on that, they started drafting their rules. So they actually reflected what we advised to them in the rules, and then they sent them to us for our review, and we made just some tidying up. But I think it saved them a lot of money. And another important piece of regulation, of course, if you work with so much data, is our famous GDPR, which is our European data privacy standard, which applies across the EU. And it's been with us since 2018, so for Europeans it's the standard. But I can imagine that for newcomers it can be very painful to implement it, because you have to change your mindset, you have to map the data, you have to understand what you process, you have to inform the data subjects about their rights, about how you process the data. You have to be careful when transferring the data to other providers, and so on and so forth. So this is also an important piece. And another important part is that it is consumer-facing. So you also have to take into account the consumer protection, which you just mentioned. So I think, to wrap it up, what is really important for the MLS systems as well as for the associations is to have strong compliance in place.
Well, I think that we do have issues in the United States, and we have the Department of Justice that regulates a lot. And so one of the things that I just really compliment IGLU on all of you is that you took the time to really investigate what it's going to take in your, and so these regulations that you're talking about in the EU, are those standard throughout all of the countries? And then perhaps there are different laws in each country as well?
Yeah, I think it depends on the field, on the area. So if you take GDPR, it's a regulation which is directly applicable. And it means that you have the same standard, more or less, within the entire EU. So once you establish yourself in one country, you can quite easily expand to other countries. There is some space for adaptation of these laws. For instance, if you process those special categories of data, such as information about health conditions or so on, it can be different in different states. But the core, the most of it is the same. Then when it comes to competition law, it's also more or less the same, because the national competition authorities usually, all of them, follow the case law of the European Commission and the European Court of Justice and General Court. So this is also more or less the same. But for instance, consumer protection differs between states. In France, obviously, it's very important and strict, and you have other countries where they are more relaxed about it.
Well, and I think we can take some really good lessons from all of this in the United States. We are very careful now about all of our contracts and protecting the data that comes in from the consumers, because we do eventually expect to have a bigger impact in our country too. Well, thank you. Thank you for the perspectives, Magda. Let's go to Khatia. So what are some of the strategic considerations that you're thinking about, or that you need to think about at ICC Georgia to establish, that you had to think about? I'm sorry, you have a real estate commission already in ICC Georgia. So tell us a little bit about how you got there and why you created it.
Thank you, Merri, for this question. At ICC Georgia, we're having various commissions that focus on different sectors, and one of them is real estate commission. It's a baby compared to other commissions. And with the help of Ms. Khatia Bukhrashvili, who inspired to establish those commissions, of course, we thought about it, how demanding it might be. We thought to have a sort of department at ICC Georgia that would be active and functional to contribute the development of the profession, real estate profession in the country, and to provide the relevant support to the practitioners. Through various activities like workshops and trainings within the Commission, which provided and will provide the relevant topics, hot topics like real estate laws and regulations and banking financing programs, the best practices in the West, sustainable development practices, digital tools for the industry. And I would like to highlight that in 2023, within the framework of the Real Estate Commission of ICC Georgia, there was a first ever pre-licensing training conducted for the members of the Real Estate National Association of Real Estate in Georgia. So also the industry research and data collection that to initiate this research and data collection will enable Commission itself to finalize the needs and the needs of the businesses, and to provide the relevant support, right? So I would like to highlight those topics that within this framework of the ICC Georgia Real Estate Commission, how it helped to identify trends and challenges and opportunities to support the real estate practitioners, experts in Georgia, and professionals, since we do not have MLS system implemented in Georgia. And since Georgia aspires to become EU member and be a player at this playground, of course, we have to follow those good practices in the West. And the activities I can extend to networking sessions and community engagement. That helps purely the players, the stakeholders, practitioners, investors of real estate industry. Since it's a brand new, of course, the more opportunities like this we have, forums and the conferences we attend, and with the help of Marika and her expertise, of course, more brilliant ideas will be born, and more we will be able to help the real estate professionals and practitioners.
I love that you're building that community within Georgia to help increase the professionalism. So that's wonderful. So how does ICC Georgia perceive to support an MLS platform? How do you see that working in your country?
So since I'm hearing all of these brilliant updates regarding MLS, this initiative really seems very interesting for Georgia itself, since the real estate industry is really flying like rocket within past 2-3 years. So MLS, to my mind, I think this will enhance transparency and consistency of the market, and transparent and consistent data itself builds and inspires the trust and confidence of the real estate investors and buyers and clients and stakeholders, those who are new in this business or well rooted in this business. So the data that MLS can provide will definitely benefit everyone. So I'm viewing from the perspective of ICC Georgia and the real estate industry, right? The consistent data will definitely provide will provide experts and practitioners with knowledge and transparent data that they will need to consult with real estate investors and buyers. It will also enable locally the public and private agencies to make business-friendly regulations and laws, policies, and policymakers themselves to adopt it and make accurate market assessments and identify business investment opportunities, and to advise their clients and those stakeholders. So we, ICC Georgia, will support the transparency and all the initiatives that will foster the growth and accelerate the development of industry.
And I think that's one of the favorite things, that I'm hearing here is the advantage of that accuracy, the current data, the transparency not only amongst the organizations and the MLSs and their brokers and their agents, but also the term that's been used a bunch is the democratization of that data that allows brokers and agents to share with the consumers and keep everybody on the same page and without any behind-the-scenes type secrets. So I love that perspective, absolutely. So Claudia, see, I got your name right this time, Claudia. We have heard in the last couple of days, and even some references today, a lot about pocket listings. And in North America, pocket listing would be kind of a broker exclusive, where nobody else except the brokerage knows about the property. What is CEPI's vision about building that transparency in the industry, and how that will value your association members in Europe?
Yeah, for CEPI, it's very important. Transparency is very important to create this kind of attitude between the professional and also in front of clients. This is very important. That's why all our work is around this concept of transparency. And the education of the colleague and so on, the sharing of experience is very important because we can learn from each other. We are a big community in CEPI, a big family, where the transparency, where the word in French it is bienveillance, that's it, the positive attitude between professional and client and so on. Donc, that's very important for us, and that's we are working on this side with our working group and so on. It is very important for us.
And I had heard, I think he may have mentioned it yesterday, that CEPI has promoted some core values about collaboration in the industry. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Or do you see the cooperation between? Yeah, but we have a lot of meeting together. We have a lot of work group. We communicate a lot together. And then we have a good staff in Brussels who are preparing a dossier with a lot of exchange with experts and specialists. We have in each association member, we have specialists of each team. We have in Georgia, we have in Prague, we have in all countries of Europe, we have people specialists in one matter, and we cooperate, we share. And then we cooperate also with the European Commission, because you have already said it is very important. We have a lot of rules under the hat, and we have to apply them, and we have to explain them, I remember, and to see how we implemented all those rules and so on. Donc we are working on this way. Always to say knowledge is very important, how to we transfer all this knowledge and so on. It is our core business. It is really developing the education, the knowledge of all members, and then it facilitates their relation also with the clients. Because when the client is seeing, oh, this professional, he knows the laws, he knows how it goes with the fiscality, he knows this one, he knows, it is a professional who we can trust. The trust from the client and the professional is very important.
You know, I appreciate that too, and it sounds like a little bit along the lines of your elevating your profession with some standards, some ethical practices that you hope to instill.
And we are working also to have some standard that could be applied in each country. But the difficulties is this: some members, some country as France, as you say, of the standards are very high. It is other countries, or it is not so much exigence about the standard. Donc we have to find a compromise, to have a basic standard and to apply them in each country.
Mm-hmm. You know, you said something. I've heard this again too. It's all about trust, not just about the trust between the real estate professionals and the consumers, but the trust between those that could put together the MLS and their subscribers and their participants. They have to trust that the MLS is as taking care of the data and providing that accuracy and that crisp, fresh data so that they can trust it when they share it with their consumers. And the trust of building with your partners that you're working with, your vendors that are helping you bring all of this together. The transparency, these are just some of the key takeaways that I've pulled from this, is transparency and trust, and just starting to build, knowing that every market's going to be slightly different, and we have to pay attention to regulations just like we do in the U.S. Aside from being an MLS junkie, I'm also a data licensing freak, because we take a lot of time to make sure we protect not only the content that our brokers contribute, but our brokers as well. So even in the MLS, there's some risk reduction that comes on behalf of the brokers through this whole system of trust that gets built from all the way through. It's a full cycle. So I appreciate that. I have no idea how much more time we have. Does anybody know? 5 minutes. Okay, perfect. Thank you. We've kind of gotten through all of the questions, but what I'd like to do now, if we have 5 minutes left, is to ask you each to just kind of give us a closing thought of your takeaways and how you perhaps see the value of the standardized data and the projection of bringing MLS into your countries. What are your takeaways from the possibilities?
I will highlight the support from ICC Georgia, since I'm not an expert, to provide relevant information. And in the next panel, there is Ms. Khatia Bukhrashvili, the chair of the Real Estate Commission of ICC Georgia, and I would like to address this question to her. Okay. So in terms of support, of course, we envisage the potential and value of MLS for my country, for Georgia, and for businesses and for industry, through our extensive networks, our connections with policymakers, all those experts and professionals that ICC Georgia unites through various commissions that will be needed to implement, to consult from every angle, to see how MLS will work to eradicate all the obstacles with shared best practices, of course, with the help of Marika and other real estate experts. ICC Georgia fully supports, as I mentioned, to transparency, all the initiatives that will make the economy work, grow, and thrive.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what's your advice to all of us, Magda?
I would say find a good lawyer and
Thank you.
good lawyers and involve
And now
them
we know at least
early.
one in here.
And then involve them early in the process. Never underestimate compliance and cooperate with your European association because they seem to have really structured approach to this.
Wonderful. How about you?
For me, I don't know if my colleague agree with that. It is to continue what you have done in the past, to continue for the future, to develop the association, to have more countries, more association, to work on education, on transparency, on compliance of our task, to collaborate with lawyers. We will see it. We are open to that because it is the key of all the regulation and so on. And to continue with transparency, with trust between us, in the respect, to be respecting the respect of all culture, of all language, and so on. We have a big family, but with more differences between us. But it is very important that we collaborate and we continue to work together. It is very important. As CEPI is the most important real estate association in Europe, and we try and we are staying the best one. I think so.
That's wonderful. Well, I just would like to say that it's been a huge learning lesson for me. I think for those of us from North America, we take what we have for granted. The MLS, even though it's evolved over time, and certainly if nothing is going to happen in Europe, well, except the Czech Republic and Romania, who are already kind of up and running, that this takes time. And I hope that we've been able to impart enough information to you to know that you can learn, you can avoid, you can start at what MLS 5.0 or 6.0, and then build from there, and you can save and benefit from our experiences that we've had. So it's really exciting to learn so much about your businesses and to be here and get to say, hey, let us know how we can help, because that we're excited to see whatever develops here. We appreciate the time, and thank you again for the opportunity. And thank you to my wonderful panel, Girl Power. We were great. You were awesome. Thank you.